Thank you for joining us on the program Still Business this week. We try to make analysis of the economy. I have my guest seated, joining me in the studio. Let's make projection for the Nigerian economy for the year 2025. It's not too early to start making projection for the authorities in charge to hear, to know what to do and how to go about it. I have my guest seated in the studio. Sitting very close to me is Deacon Matthew Ehiobu. He's an entrepreneur and one of the voice that you always hear on radio, but this is the face. And I have Benedict Ochago. Benedict Ochago is a regular face you see on TV. He's also an entrepreneur. Good afternoon, gentlemen, for joining me.
Good afternoon.
Happy New Year to you.
Same to you. Happy New Year to you.
All right, Happy New Year, Benedict. You're looking, the New Year is actually showing around you already.
Good afternoon to our viewers out there.
Okay.
It's always a pleasure being here and being here on a New Year.
On a New Year day.
Our first edition of this program for the year.
Oh, okay, yeah. Absolutely. First of the year.
Yeah,
that's true.
So it's a pleasure being here
All
and
right.
Happy New Year to everyone out there.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's start up the conversation. 2024 has come and gone.
Yes.
And we saw the whole back and forth with the economy.
Yes.
This is 2025.
Yes.
What can the government do differently to affect the life of the individual, the citizens that seem to be living in abject poverty? I'll start with you.
Yes, good afternoon once again, Edo State and Nigeria. Happy New Year. You see, 2024 has come and gone.
Yeah.
Government need to do a holistic approach
Okay.
so as to get it right this 2025.
Okay.
Because looking at it down 2024,
Yeah.
the inflation rate was not funny at all.
Absolutely.
You know, the increasing cost of living and cost of production for the entrepreneurs
Yeah.
was not funny. And many businesses, many jobs were folded up.
Okay.
And we don't want to see a repeat of that in 2025. So
Right.
government need to do the needful, set up, make good policies that will be business friendly, so that we'll be able to invest, because the increasing inflation rate,
Yeah.
you know, is not helping issue at all.
Okay.
And if we don't do it right,
Yeah.
it may be worse off, if you ask me,
Okay.
compared to 2024, but we don't pray for that.
All right. We'll get to the whole inflation rate and the policies of government. Benedict, your thoughts?
Well, I'm happy you said my thoughts.
Yeah, your thoughts.
Because I'm quite optimistic for 2025.
Okay. Reasons?
Even though there are no much
Yeah.
from that the government has given us for such optimism,
Okay.
but somehow I'm very, very optimistic.
Okay.
In 2024, 2023/2024,
Yeah.
the federal government embarked on several reforms.
Yeah.
Those reforms brought a lot of economic hardship,
Yeah.
and we are yet to see the seemly outcome of those reforms.
Okay.
For example, the reform in the oil sector, where the president said upon his inauguration that subsidy is gone.
Yeah.
We are yet to see the money that was supposed
To
to
be
be
saved.
accrued into saved
From the subsidy.
the subsidy.
Yeah.
We are yet to see the effect of it on the life of
economy.
everyday Nigerian.
Yeah.
And then reform in the forest.
Yeah.
The dollar,
the naira, yeah.
this thing. The reform took the naira out of control
Absolutely.
in terms of depreciation.
Yeah.
And I'm still wondering, because for me, I still believe that that was one of the grievous mistakes of the federal government
Yeah.
so far.
The unification of the
Yeah,
exchange rate.
not
Or
just
the devaluation of the naira.
devaluation
Okay.
of the naira
Okay.
is one of the biggest mistakes for
All
me. Even though the federal government is still trying to justify
The
but
reasons
they've not
behind
really
it.
been able to give us any concrete reason.
Absolutely.
They know that that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because as a nation that is not producing, as a consuming nation,
Yeah.
when you devalue your currency, where will you get the strength and the backup
Yeah.
to revalue it?
Value it back.
So in the first place, you have to put all of those things in consideration.
Absolutely.
And so the valuing of the currency has given the external bodies advantage over us.
Okay.
That is what you just did.
Yeah.
you made the people that has the dollar comes with the dollar, a little dollar, they come to carry our natural resources
and go.
You understand? So you've practically given them an advantage.
Okay.
You borrow in dollar, and you are using naira to
pay
convert to dollar to pay back.
You
You
are
pay
paying
with
higher.
a huge amount.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we are spending a whole lot to service our debt.
our debt.
So all of these things is one of, and the federal government has not been able to justify this by any means.
Okay.
That is a grievous mistake even till today.
Okay.
And so there are a lot of other few reforms here and there and here and there. So that we are still waiting to see what exactly was the federal government looking at.
Yeah.
Because whether you like it or not, the average Nigerian has not really benefited from all of those so-called reforms. So I'm looking forward to a 2025 where those things that the presidency tells us to be patient, that these reforms will pay, where it will actually start paying Nigerians. Okay. I'm not saying paying the elite, paying the president and his
cabinet members.
No, I mean everyday
common man on the street.
Everyday Nigerian. Nobody is common. We are all Nigerians.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So everyday Nigerian has to benefit because this is our country.
Okay.
And the resources is our resources. And so everybody, the true indices of an economy is what you see on the street. When you go
not
to the market,
figures
no,
given.
not the figures given.
Okay.
When you are saying inflation is 40.1%,
when you go to the market, you feel it.
So when you go to the market, you should be able to say, okay, yes, I can justify it. Yeah. But when you are telling us that inflation is 40% or 35%,
and we go to the market,
we are saying 200%. What are you saying? 100%. Okay. 200% in the market. Yeah. Sometimes even 300. Yeah. 150%. So it is what is on the ground. Yeah. So, and there's no way the federal government will continue to gaslight us. Okay. So we expect that in 2025, we should see this reform bringing dividends. Okay. That is seeable, that is very clear, that affects the life of the people. Because the true measure of a prosperous economy is in the day-to-day living of the people. So if we don't see it, we will continue to cry out.
Okay. All right, let me come to you, Deacon.
Yes.
You wanted to start painting inflation. I had to pause you. Yes. So we're going there now. Okay. You are in the manufacturing sector, day-to-day activity you manufacture. Yes. Inflation is standing at 34.60% now.
That is what the paper
That was what the paper said. Because I can't go against the figure for November, which they brought out in December. So we're waiting for the one for December by the 15th of January. So in the next, how many days? Now say 13, okay. 12.
There's a rumor of about, that will be about 40%.
Okay, let's wait till they release the paper. Yes. So let's now talk about the inflation. How do you think the government can actually, because the president last week said he's working to bring down inflation to 15%. The question I asked myself, something is 34%. What magic would you do? Another question I asked myself, how many percent was it? How did it climb to 34? It's just like a child you gave birth to, you feed the child starts growing. So it means there was something they weren't doing wrong that moved it from 11 to 18 to 20 to 30 to 34. What do you really think they can now do? He, the team, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister, the CBN Governor, to really bring down, because everything boils down on this whole inflation.
Are you aware now that in the news this morning, from the telecom system,
they're 100%. I had it on my news, but I couldn't take it because of they want to increase to 100%.
Increase their tariff to by 100%. And you will now look at the multiplier effect that's going
on the citizens.
Because when you talk about business, inflation and all of that, it has to do with communication.
Absolutely.
And every other sector following.
Yes.
And you ask me that if inflation is out of control to not just the man in the street, but the producer at this time, the driver of the economy, which are the entrepreneur. You know, by the time they are not able to add value to the raw materials around to become finished good for local consumption and maybe get foreign earnings when you sell abroad.
Yes.
You now ask, how are you going to drive the economy? It's not about making policy, I'm going to reduce the rates to 15% and all of that. When there is no stable electricity. Now the telecom industry is telling you they are going to increase their tariff by 100%. Then the electricity, NEROC, they are doing their own the other way. Yeah. Then there is no stable light, you know, to power your machines. How are you going to drive? Okay. You see, in 2020, even from 2023 to 2024, a lot of companies
they exited Nigeria.
Not just the one that could move, were able to move, but the one that shut down went into not just recession now, some into depression, shut down. Yeah. You know, people are, you know, are welling away, you know, losing a lot of resources. So it's not about making policy you are going to reduce it. Let us see that the electricity sector is working, the telecom sector is, you know, rather than increasing the tariff, let government give them assistance by way of subsidy or, you know, give them the enabling environment to make communication easy. You know, it's not just because by the time they are not able to give enabling environment, my brother, you know, all you do will just be running the government in newspaper, radio,
and telling us, giving us figures and statistics
that are not realistic. So what they should do, they should create enabling environment
for small businesses to try
grow. From not just small business, from micro, you know,
you start moving
to do with the individual to small, medium, and enterprise development.
Okay, Benedict, the president had a media chat 2 weeks ago with the press, that's media men. He said one thing that struck me. He does not believe in price control. And that is scary when the #1 citizen of a country says he doesn't believe in price control. What do you make out of that? Because I feel personally, because we don't have price control, that is why A will be selling at this rate, B sells at the other rate, to exploit the buyers.
Well, it's unfortunate that we find ourselves in a system where people do anything and get away with it. Where elected leaders feel they can say anything and do anything and get away with it. They don't check the weight of their comment, ranging from the president to the Senate president and some of them. If you look at that, we tell you the level of lack of empathy within that cycle of leadership. Okay. Because if you don't believe in price control, what exactly do you believe in?
And sorry to cut you, we have agencies that are supposed to. People out there, they are working, they are earning salary.
They are funding those agencies. And then you have a president that doesn't believe in those agencies and still funding those agencies. So that is what I'm saying. You see, the problem, with due respect, with the current leadership administration is a lot of arrogancy. The president believes he knows so much. But when you weigh it on the balance of today's economy and what is tenable from that part of the media chat and you discover that the president is a bit disconnected from the reality. The president is living in the past.
Why would you say so?
Yeah, the reason is that he talked about that how he wants to be able to bring about feeding the nation, that he has ordered for 2,000 tractors and all of that. That is not how a nation is fed. Okay. Tractors are used for mechanized farming by big farmers and all of that, and those farmers farm for a profit. They do it, and after the production, they export it to wherever they will get more profit. The people that feed the nation are medium and the small-scale farmers. Those are the people that feed nation in every part of the world. But the president is disconnected from that reality. He doesn't even understand that the way you can get the economy stable is when you enforce and enhance price control. The way your tax reform will work effectively is when you enforce price control. The president does not understand that. And I believe that is either he doesn't listen or the people advising him are doing a very bad job. That is the truth. And that is what has brought us to where we are. There have been a lot of bogus statements.
Okay.
There've been a lot of bogus approaches.
Yeah.
That
they just say it because they want to say it.
And they don't understand.
Okay, I need to cut you here. We need to go on a short break. After the break, the conversation continues. Just stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. Still on the program, we're still moving on, looking at the projection for the Nigeria economy in the year 2025. 2024 have come and gone with so much here and there, back and forth, cost of living and everything. But this is a new year. Let's see if we can talk to the government, whether at the federal or at the state level. Let's see what they can do to ease the plight of the people. The people indeed are suffering. My guest, as he's seated, I have Ben Ochago, who is an entrepreneur. I can also call him an economist because he understands the principle of economics very well. And I also have Matthew Eherobu, Deacon Matthew Eherobu, in the studio here. And we're trying to make sense out of, let's see what happens in 2025. So you were on a trail. You've not landed before we went on that break.
Yeah, like I was trying to say that the president does not understand that there is a weight that goes with
the comment.
The comment of the number one citizen of the nation.
Country. Yeah.
In America, if a president makes economic statement, the different capitalists, they use that statement to plan their business.
Okay.
You can use the president's broadcast to plan your year.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can count on it because of the weight
of what he says.
His words.
Yes.
But here, the president just talks. Because we live in a system where people are not held accountable.
Absolutely.
In 2027, people will still go out to vote without putting all of these things in account.
In consideration.
Yeah. That's the system. And eventually, like I do say, we deserve our leaders. The leadership we have in this country
is what we deserve.
Nigerians deserve.
Okay, not all Nigerians actually, because I agree with you.
Well,
because some of us wouldn't say we deserve some of the kind of leaders.
I'm telling you that Nigerians deserve the kind of leadership we have. So all of these things we are trying to say is to tell you where their priorities is. Okay. I took a little time to look at the breakdown of the 2025 budget.
Yeah, 49.7 trillion.
Now, when you look at that budget, from the budget office, Federation Budget Office, when you look at it, you find out that the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, what they had was less than 40 billion.
40 billion, yes. Less than 40 billion, not even up to a trillion.
No, okay. 40 billion. Now, the presidency had 500 and something billion, the presidency.
To maintain
a few people.
There was one I saw, a honorarium, 200 and something billion.
Then
that's the money they give to people for free.
The National Assembly that practically does nothing.
Yeah.
The National Assembly.
But we can't really say they don't do anything.
The National Assembly practically does nothing.
Okay, that's your thought.
That is my thought.
Okay.
Because if the National Assembly is effective the way it's supposed to be, Nigeria will not be in this kind of precarious situation.
Okay. But they are supporting the policies of the president.
The National Assembly had about over 400 billion. That is the National Assembly that comprises of less than 500 people.
469.
You understand? They have over 400 billion. Now, if we are serious about reviving the economy, you will understand that the areas you need to focus on.
Okay.
Because you cannot just be touching and be doing,
more like try and error.
No, there are punchlines. You understand?
Okay.
In football, there's what we call the killer pass.
Yeah.
And when those passes come, they definitely leads to goal.
Okay.
Now, the killer pass in this form in our economy is to empower the small and medium-scale enterprises.
Okay.
And I believe that the Ministry of Commerce and Industry is supposed to be saddled with that responsibility. Okay. But look at the budget they are having, less than 40 billion.
Very meager. Okay.
You understand? Yes. And if Nigeria is serious about reviving the economy, the small and medium-scale enterprises those that produce in the small and medium scale, those that trade in small and medium, should be priority because those are the people that drives the economy.
Okay.
It's when those people start doing well, that's when the economy starts doing well. Because they are more in number than every other.
Absolutely true.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I get it.
If you empower them, those are the people that drive the India's economy.
Okay.
Those are the people that drive United States economy. Even the China's economy. Those are the people that drive it. Okay. So when you look at these people, and you are not, the president media chart does not even take into account what happens to those people. And the president said he wants to revive the economy of the country. Okay. There is no basis for the revival. All we are seeing is paper talk.
Okay. Dickin, your thought on that statement by the president?
Yes, still on the budget. You know of that about 40 trillion proposal for
49.7 trillion for the year 2025.
About over,
it started running yesterday already.
16 trillion naira was for debt servicing.
Yeah, for debt servicing.
Just to service our debt.
16.8.
And what they said was
and it might increase though.
Yes, definitely it might.
And what they said in that regard is that this makes the international agency makes Nigeria favorable to them
to come and invest. Yeah, I heard that as well.
You understand? So that I've been worried about this. Okay. Talking about the IMF without apology, even the World Bank. You know, the way they dictate our economy.
But do you think they are the one dictating? We are the one that run to them. They are not the one dictating. If I don't come to you to borrow me money, you cannot give me conditions.
Why is it that it's incumbent that they make it like a pressure that you must come? If
I don't think it's a pressure. It's your government that chooses to go to them.
I'm telling you, there's a pressure. If they
refuse,
think so? Yes. Okay. If they refuse, they use all their strategy because it is our natural resources that they are depending on that drive those economies.
Okay.
You understand? Now, imagine of that amount, over 16 trillion to service debt. Not that you are to pay it to service. Just to service.
This year alone will spend more than 40 something to service.
You understand? So
sorry, last year,
it is
not this
worrisome
year.
if the government cannot take into account the micro, small, and medium enterprise. And you say you want to revamp, you want to do this, that has to do, and look at what the analysis is saying on consumption overheads. Yeah. Without taking the capital expenditure into
consideration,
so
more of recurrent expenditure.
Brother. Okay. It is worrisome. If they can listen to this program, they are hearing. And another thing, it also revolves around the political template.
Okay.
I begin to wonder if we are actually running a multi-party system of government or a unitary
one
when a state government just win an election. You know, invariably the national assembly, the state house of assembly, the local government
becomes the puppets in the hands of the governor.
The camp. Yeah. And you hear one of our big politicians say, if you come and join us,
your sins are forgiven.
Your sins are forgiven. Okay. How are you not going to run the state to account?
Okay.
How will not there be opposition? Yeah. How will there be checks and balances? If the governor is maybe making some wrong, errors, who is going to bring him to limelight and all of that? Yeah. If the president is deviating in his policy, how will the National Assembly be able to bring it? If they are appendages, if they are the, just, at the beck and call of the executive. Yeah. So all these things need to be checked because one political tenor will come and go.
Absolutely.
But the identity you have, your currency. Yeah. Imagine now in the other time, we are told that Nigeria currency is third worst performing currency in the whole world.
As at on Tuesday, which was the last day of the year, it was second worst.
You can imagine.
Worst. I read that news on another program.
You want to take your pride of place in the community of nations. Okay. With all these Bisman,
okay. Let me come to you, Benedict. We've been borrowing. It seems like borrowing is a normal thing, which ought not to be, because he is saying he blames the World Bank, the IMF, but for me, I don't, because our government run to them. They give them conditions. From your own end, do you think we should continue with this borrowing spree in this year 2025?
There's no nation of the world that doesn't borrow.
Okay.
America is almost the highest debtor in the world. Okay. So it is what you borrow.
What you do with it.
To do.
Okay.
That is the thing.
Okay.
When you borrow, what do you do with it? What is the impact of this borrowing on the life of your citizens? That is what matters,
Okay.
not the borrowing.
Okay.
And then when you talk about the IMF and the international agencies and all of that, they are basically the problem Nigeria has.
You are also joining your voice with his voice.
You
That
see,
are the problem.
You see,
Okay.
I don't want to mention certain things.
Okay, your point.
If you watch some documentaries, you will understand how the white thinks.
Okay.
The white man does not want Nigeria to be good. The Americans, the United Kingdom...
Would you say the white man don't, or your leaders don't want?
Listen to me, Lawrence. America and United Kingdom does not want Nigeria to enter into the state of prosperity.
But you don't have evidence.
Because
to that,
listen, you see, we are not in court.
Yeah, we are not
allow
in
me,
court. But it's a live television program.
It's a live television program.
You are educating the people.
And I'm speaking as a Nigerian.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
And I have every right to speak and defend my fatherland.
Okay.
Because that's what they also do.
All right, fine.
So you cannot gag me defending
No,
my
I'm not gagging.
Nigeria.
I'm not doing that.
So now, these guys are the problem Nigeria have. These guys knows that once Nigeria starts prospering, the problem they had with Jonathan, Obama had with Jonathan, is because the economy was doing so well.
Very well.
And Jonathan was not running to them. So they made sure that Jonathan is removed out of the way. And so they understand all of this scheme.
Okay.
And so they try to bring policies that will crumble our economy and give them advantage.
Okay.
The reason why some of them may want to come and invest is because they come with the little dollar and it becomes plenty of money.
It becomes a huge lot of naira here.
Here. You understand?
Yeah,
because when we crumble our economy, you see, Nigeria that used to take their pride among the nations is now struggling. The people from Cotonou and Togo, they are now coming to Nigeria with their currency, safer. They are not bringing it
even higher than naira.
Can you imagine that?
And then somebody will come and gaslight me that the economy is doing well. There are things you don't politicize.
But the government is saying the economy is doing well.
See, the government will say what they want to say as politicians.
Politics, okay.
You understand? But we are talking about, you and I know that we had not had it this bad.
Never
Had it this bad.
At least since I was born.
Even the Buhari that destroyed this country. Remember that
it's an allegation. We can't say he destroyed the country. His policies did not really work too well. We can use that.
President Muhammadu Buhari was the one that destroyed this
country.
No,
we can't say that. But his policies didn't work well. We can use that.
But the problem is that I expected that the current administration should at least do something.
But the administration said he will continue from where he stopped. So obviously that's what we're saying.
Because when Buhari was in charge, there were a lot of abnormalities economically. And they were just patching up and all of that. Okay. So what we are saying, Lawrence, is that we can put all hands should be on deck to revive our economy for the sake of the citizens in this 2025.
Okay.
In this 2025.
All right.
And you know, sometimes we talk so much about the federal government and exonerate the state government.
Out of it.
Okay. We cannot have a prosperous nation without taking into account what happens in the state and in the local government.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So now that brings me to the place of the local the state government.
Okay.
Because I have always criticized the state governors.
All right.
Most of our state governors are very lazy.
Most of them.
Most of our state governors are very lazy in terms of driving the states economically.
Okay.
What they do is just to go and share money.
Go and collect allocation
and come back to their state, disburse it, and do jamborees, and they wait for the next month
to end to go and collect again.
And so when the president now is saying that we want to do tax reform, where is you will get according to what you generate from your state. For the first time, you see governors, especially from certain regions.
Okay. Let's mention that from the north. Okay, let's take a break. My presentation director is giving me a sign. Let's just take a break. After this break, the show continues shortly. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. So, Benedict,
So what we're saying is that the state governors must, you know, when you talk, the state governors always point you to the presidency.
To the presidency,
that's not how.
But because you are practicing a federal system,
it's
where
a federal
the
system where there is decentralization of power from the federal to the state to the local government.
Okay.
That's how it's supposed to be. And then the state has to play pivotal role.
Right.
For example, Edo State, where we are speaking from right now.
Yeah.
The truth is that the Edo State, good enough, has a new administration
barely
right
2 months. It's not 1 to 2 months.
And the governor, with due respect, has made a lot of giant strides. Okay. For example, the flyover I wants to do.
But we've not seen anything started working.
Well,
I stay in that part of the city. Nothing has started.
And a few other things. But also, it is also a shame that instead of the new administration to focus on reviving the economy of the state. Yeah. What you see, like what happened at there yesterday.
Yeah, the councillors going to the secretariat to destroy because they want to suspend the local government chairman.
The local government chairman and things that are outside of the law. Exactly. Rule of law is no longer being respected. And so if I believe that the state governor should focus on his campaign promises right now and deliver because I believe personally that the governor is a good man. Okay. And he's somebody who is empathic. Okay. He should go to the street and see how people are faring. How people are faring, how people are suffering. Okay. So what your interest right now, it should be how I can revamp the economy of this state.
Of my state.
And how do you do that? It's not just about building roads. Okay. If you are building the road, your road construction should be economically driven.
Where agricultural products can come into the cities and all that.
I'm a grassroots person. Okay. So if you are building road, for example, in Edo State, for example, you go to Igwobazua, build road from Udo and some other areas where the agricultural can come into the city center. You go to the Edo Central, go to Ekpoma, go to other Onwa, Sobe, and all of those. Build a road that will connect for agricultural this thing. Okay. You understand? Yeah. And because I believe that if you are building road, it's not just about building street road where people will clap for you. Build road that will enhance the economy. Go to places like Egara, for example, Edo North, and build a road that will connect communities where the economic activity will be boosted. You understand? So this thing should be, it's not about this one is supporting me politically, so I have to go and build road in his village. Area. No. It should be strategic. If I go, for example, Egbeta after Okada of your notice, and I build a road that connect those regions, and then agricultural product from Egbeta
in agricultural produce.
Do you understand? Yeah. So if I go to Orionwo, Ugo, and all of that, and build strategic road, and it will boost the economy. Those are the things I expect state governors to be looking at, boosting the economy, because people are suffering. All right. There's economic hardship, and this should be focused. Not everything you play politics with. But I still believe that the administration of Edo State is still very young. And if they can still get it right and focus on the economy. Okay,
let me assume that's your parting shot, because we're pressed for time according to the presentation director. Let me get your take on what should be done as we wrap up, both at the federal and at the state level. Because we're nodding on many of these projections.
Let me talk to the state government. Okay. You know, this issue of when a government just come in, they will give the franchise to cut tickets as one of the major source of, not just one person, as in focusing on ticketing as one of the major
source of revenue
economy. It doesn't worth it at all. It does not leave you with an identity of what is Edo State made of. Okay. You understand? Or whatever state it is. We should be entrepreneurial driven. Okay. We should be able to revamp the economy of the state by what we offer as product and service range. Though cutting of tickets is one way of, but it shouldn't be
be done in a crude way.
Just in a barbaric or in a crude that you see, carry stick carry,
to run after buses, and
it does not tell good of us at all. Okay. So let the government look inward, do it digitally, in a mature way, and look at other entrepreneurial outfit where we can generate economy. It may not just be instantaneous.
Absolutely.
Maybe 3 months, 4 months. Like that trade and investment sector. It should be looked at properly. Okay. From the federal to the state, so as to drive the economy. If you are not offering product, if you have nothing to sell, from maybe to as a surrogate for imported products, you'll be living on imported
borrowings and imported material.
It will be disvaluing your currency. Your balance of payment deficit will be reduced at the deficit continually, and you become a dumping ground. Okay. So that will not tell good of us. So
and then again, Lawrence, let me quickly say this. Okay. Instead of the current administration to be going into vindictive approach, hunting political opponents and all of that.
When someone says something, they come out to counter it.
No, the hunting the past administration. Hunting the past administration. Yeah. I'm not saying that if somebody has involved in corruption and embezzlement, the person should not be held accountable.
Absolutely.
That's not what I'm saying. Okay. But this vindictive approach should be placed on hold. It should be stopped totally. We are not running Banana Republic here. If you are holding anybody accountable, there is a legal process.
Absolutely.
The current governor should focus on delivering dividends of democracy and also look at the things that the immediate past governor had done, because he had done so many things to know how he can enhance continuity. Don't just come and tell us that nothing was done. No, we know that there were things that the past administration did that are correct. We understand these things. So you should follow on enhancing those things and driving it further instead of being just vindictive and criticizing and all of that.
We're pressed for time because my presentation director has already given me signals. I really want to thank you guys for your thoughts on this subject of discussion. Well, like I said, we will always monitor and look out for. If by March, February, ending of February, March, we're not seeing what we're supposed to see for the new year, we'll still come back here. We'll still have a discussion and give projections to whether the federal or the state government on how to move the economy forward. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on the show. That's how far we can go on the show this afternoon. It's been a great time, the first edition for the year 2025. God willing, next week, we'll be back again with some more exciting topic. Let's talk about the economy. It is the driving force of every nation, whether you take it or not politics, but economy. I am Lawrence Osifo. On behalf of my entire team, great team behind cameras, we thank you for being a part of the show. See you again next week. Bye for now.